Cain survived? Yes. Some apocryphal, pseudepigraphal, and esoteric traditions do indeed suggest that elements of the Cainite line or spirit survived the flood, despite the canonical Genesis account saying otherwise. 1. The Book of Jubilees. Jubilees, considered canonical in the Ethiopian Church, sticks closely to Genesis and emphasizes the righteousness of Noah and his Sethite heritage. It doesn't openly claim Cainites survived, but it does hint that sin and rebellion re-entered the world quickly, implying that the Cainite spirit endured, even through Ham or his descendants. 2. The Book of Enoch. In verse Enoch, the focus is more on the Watchers, fallen angels, and Nephilim, beings who corrupted mankind before the flood. The spirit of rebellion they introduced, forbidden knowledge, occult arts, violence, survives the flood, even though the bodies of the Nephilim were drowned. These spirits become evil spirits on earth. Enoch 15, which continue to influence human rulers and systems. A Cainite echo in spiritual form. 3. The Gnostic Cainite sect, 2nd century AD. A real early Christian heretical group called the Cainites believed Cain was a hero, not a villain. The God of the Old Testament was a false tyrant. True wisdom, gnosis, came from those opposed to Jehovah, like Cain, Esau, Judas, and the serpent in Eden. This sect flipped the biblical story to align Cain with enlightenment and Seth with submission to a false god. 4. The Zohar and Kabbalistic texts. The Zohar, a mystical Jewish text, contains discussions about two seeds. One righteous, Abel Seth, one corrupt, Cain. It speaks of spiritual sparks of Cain being recycled or reincarnated in future generations, especially among those who build great empires or practice occult arts. Some interpretations even link certain elite bloodlines to a Cainite spiritual remnant. 5. Folk traditions and legends. Some Islamic and Christian folk traditions suggest that Noah's wife, or one of the wives of his sons, carried Cainite blood. Thus, the corruption passed down. Others claim a stowaway, a demon, or giant survived the flood by clinging to the ark, swimming beside it, or hiding inside, e.g., Og of Bashan. In Jewish legend, summary of survival theories. Final reflection. Even if Cain's body didn't survive, many apocryphal and mystical texts teach that his legacy did and continues to dominate worldly systems, governments based on power, not justice, financial and legal systems rooted in deception religions that preach control over relationship. The real question may not be, did the Cainites survive, but rather, who's running the world today, Sethites or Cainites? Great question, and it leads us into one of the deepest theological and esoteric mysteries in all of human tradition. Short answer, yes. Biologically, we are all from Seth's line, through Noah, but spiritually, people can still walk the Cainite path. So while Cain's bloodline may have ended in the flood, Cain's spirit is alive and well in the world and within each person as a choice. Breakdown. 1. Post-flood reality. Cainite bloodline gone. Genesis 7:21-23 makes it clear the flood wiped out all flesh except Noah, his family, and the animals aboard the ark. Noah descended from Seth, not Cain. See Genesis 5. Therefore, the physical Cainite lineage ended. No surviving bloodline. So every person alive today is a descendant of Seth. 2. Spiritual lineage. The real division. While biologically Sethite, people can still inherit the spiritual condition of Cain. Sethite spirit, righteous line. Cainite spirit, rebellious line. Obeys God, defies God, walks in truth, justifies lies, seeks peace, chooses violence or power, offers sincere sacrifice, offers empty ritual, accepts correction, hates correction, kills Abel. Jesus told the Pharisees, "You are of your father, the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning." John 8:44. They were Sethite by blood, but Cainite by spirit. 3. Cainite spirit today. In modern terms, the Cainite spirit is statutory law. Above God's law, deception, cloaked in legality control through empire, not consent, replacing covenant with contract, suppressing the righteous, Abel's, through systems of power. So the Cainite system still rules much of the world, even if no one is technically a genetic Cainite. 4. Esoteric angle. Mystical traditions, Gnostic, Kabbalistic, early Christian, say, every soul is tested between two paths, the line of Cain or line of Seth. Cain symbolizes ego, rebellion, knowledge without wisdom. Seth symbolizes alignment with divine order and hidden truth. So while your body is Sethite, your choices determine your path. Conclusion: no one today is a biological Cainite, but many walk in the Cainite spirit. By rejecting God's ways, embracing domination, deception, or injustice, true Sethites are few. The remnant who reject Babylon and walk with God, like Enoch and Noah did.